With $35,000 in credit limits attained relatively quickly and multiple pre-approval offers lined up in the background, I want to continue to explain how I developed my relationship with American Express strategically over the last 3.5 years or so. I also want to explain specifically in this video how my high yield savings account was able to contribute to the growth I've had with American Express, and how honestly it didn't take very much to get those seeds planted. So you can take this information, apply it to your personal circumstances, and expand your banking relationships so you can get access to better quality capital, so you can invest in businesses and own more assets. So my American Express relationship started in 2020, and it actually started with my high yield savings account. I started that account sometime in early 2020. I didn't contribute very much to that account for a significant amount of time, believe it or not. I started out with a very small, maybe $50, $100 starting deposit, and just contributed maybe $25 a month to that account. I didn't have massive plans yet for American Express, but I knew I wanted the relationship at some point in time. So I continued that pathway from 2020 till about 2023, where I got my first credit card with American Express, March 31st or April 1st of 2023, which was the American Express HILTON SURPASS card. But at that time, again, my high yield savings account was slowly building itself up. Occasionally, I would add a little extra to it, but the moral of the story was I wanted to plant the seeds with American Express. How did this contribute to my growth with American Express? Well, my high yield savings account was my shoe in to showing American Express I had interest in a deposit relationship and an overall relationship with them, and it allowed them to have access to data that they needed to assess me as a client. You see, American Express is one of those institutions that is very big on gathering data on its clients, as most banks are, if not all, but they have the infrastructure because they do not have in-person locations. They don't have branches. So American Express is probably going to be one of the most elite at gathering data on its clients without being able to have that face-to-face interaction and verification. So I planted the seeds with that high yield savings account, even though, again, that relationship never really branched out beyond 3 figures. It still showed American Express that I was a legitimate customer, a small behavior of saving, as well as giving them an opportunity to verify me and gather some data points as I look to expand that relationship. So again, when I went to apply in 2023 for my first card, mind you, I did have good credit, I had a pretty good income and a good DTI, but I still was able to get a pre-approval as well as approved on the spot at a $9,000 limit on my American Express HILTON SURPASS out of the gate. Probably could have got this card without having any relationship with American Express, but again, I'm pretty sure that it didn't hurt that I had that established relationship 3 years prior. So what am I trying to recommend for you or give you some insight on how to go about building these relationships out? The first thing I want you to take away from this is you don't have to have a massive relationship with these institutions to get your foot in the door and to plant the seeds to get access to quality capital and to expand that banking relationship to get access to more financial resources. You don't need a ton of money. I'm telling you, I only had 3 figures in this account at its max up to 2023 when I first applied for my American Express HILTON SURPASS card. And I also got the American Express business card shortly thereafter that also had a $10,000 limit. You can start small with these institutions. You don't have to go in there with thousands of dollars, because the moral of the story is to give them an opportunity to know you exist, to identify who you are, and then to verify who you are over time. Time is almost always going to be the most significant factor when you're building out your finances in any capacity. You're giving American Express and any other institution time to assess who you are. They get the right to soft pull your credit, do other background checks and verification, as well as monitor your banking habits and your financial habits and behaviors over time when you develop these small relationships. This eases the underwriting process. You don't want to go in worrying about doing all these backdoor strategies and hacks to try to get in and wiggle your way into these approvals on these credit cards. Just start small, plant the seeds, get a small deposit relationship going with these institutions. Even if your credit is good and you can get in immediately with a credit card with them, it definitely expands the capacity for them to lend a higher limit to you in a shorter amount of time if you have a deposit relationship with them. So when it comes to American Express, this is going to be particularly special because, again, there's no physical locations. It makes a significant difference in their ability to trust clients and know who they're doing business with. So start small. Interest rates at the time of this recording are pretty attractive. It's not that complicated to get 4 or 5% on your high yield savings account with American Express. You can do your own due diligence. By the time you catch this recording, this can change. But the moral of the story is, if you have excess capital, if you have the ability to even do small deposits from an external account, this will plant the seeds with American Express Express, and you can get a decent return on your money while you're building that relationship up. If you have external accounts set up, this will tease American Express because they're gonna know you have outside money and an outside primary banking relationship. This is a plus. If you have a direct deposit, that's even better. You can split up even a small direct deposit into this account. It can go a long way. Once you start to plant the seeds, you get access to capital. They'll have broader data points because they've actually approved you for credit at that point. And from that point, expanding your relationship is gonna be much easier. But a deposit relationship goes a very, very long way. And a high yield savings account with American Express doesn't have any minimum balance requirements, and it gets a really good interest rate. It's a great opportunity for you to save, build some data points with a quality institution, and get yourself some access to an institution that you can grow with deep into your personal and small business relationship. So I wanted to give you some quick context. I did not start with a big relationship with American Express at all, and I've grown literally almost overnight with American Express to have literally 5 figures or more in pre-approvals waiting in the background with American Express. And part of that started with my high yield savings account that I started in 2020. Plant the seeds with these institutions early. Even if you don't have plans on executing with them yet, the time invested, even if the balances are small, will go a long way, because fraud happens usually in short spurts of time. So when you build a relationship with these institutions and you let it go 6 months, a year and beyond, you look much more favorable and much more reliable, much lower risk as a borrower. For me with American Express, I'm looking to get access to the business line of credit so I can start scaling out my real estate portfolio, starting with American Express and a couple other institutions. That's just an example of one of the plans that I have with this institution. I want you to comment down below and let me know what your plans are, what institutions you're building with, and what your end game is with these institutions, at least in the relatively near future, the next 1 to 2 years. If you want to learn more about myself and the channel, start in the description section and work your way to the about section on the channel. To all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. I want y'all to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.